Welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes of Wisdom, a channel dedicated to helping you expand your knowledge and develop a more successful and peaceful mind. My guest today is a global speaker, #1 international best-selling author, certified grief transformation and life success coach, and veterinarian oncologist. Her specialty is in helping people thrive through tough times and win with more ease and fun. She is an expert in assisting people effortlessly transform their failures and tragedies into triumphs and thriving, joyful living. Welcome to the show, the inspirational Dr. Birgitte Tan. Welcome, Birgitte.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be able to be here with you today.
Yeah, thank you. Amazing. I love that you have, if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, look, there's so much amazing things I want to speak to you and talk with you about, and I'm very excited to have this opportunity. So let's maybe just kind of go through. The first thing is, I want to talk a little bit about your story, which is very interesting. And how you were a veterinarian oncologist.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of before, but you've kind of transitioned, right, from that.
Yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit about that transition and which led you to what you're doing now?
Sure, absolutely. I'm happy to. So yes, I my background, my education is in veterinarian oncologist. I'm a board certified veterinary medical oncologist actually. And lives happened in 2011. It started with seemingly to me at the time out of the blue divorce after 15 years of marriage. And actually that only opened a Pandora box of 8 to 9 other grievous events all happened in 2 years. And at the end of that 2 years, I was in so much pain. I wish I could die. But I didn't die. And after a little time, I said, well, if I have to stay alive, then I'm going to thrive, not just survive. And I'm going to somehow, some way do it with ease and fun. I'm going to thrive somehow with ease and fun. Don't know how, but it's going to happen. And that's when I started my own journey into grief recovery and personal development. And fast forward just a few years, just a couple years later, and I have gone from broke, heartbroken, sick all the time, miserable all the time, to living a wonderful life of ease, joy, peace of mind, and abundance, more abundance than before, and better health than the first 40 years of my life. And so that's when I realized I have learned and mastered the tools and skill of transforming multiple different adversities, all of them into wonderful, thriving life. And fast forward to last year, actually, and so that's when I said, well, this probably can help. You mentioned dance away sadness when you're doing research. It's part of the journey. I actually I used to love to dance when I was a kid, and then when I was 11, I came home having difficulties following dance step at school. And I shared on the dinner table, I have tough times following dance step. And somebody, an elder in the family, look at me and say, well, you are a stiff, clumsy, ugly duckling with big, ugly legs. You should never even think about dancing. I said, what? And for an 11 years old kid, that
Wow.
actually stopped me. For an 11 years old, early adolescent girl, can you imagine? I was like, what? And that stopped me from dancing, stopped me from wearing skirt or dresses too. And when I went through these 2 years of interesting moments, to say the least, something in me just told me to start dancing again, just like start moving. And so that was a lot of dancing on my own to Enya in my bedroom late at night with a lot of crying. But each time it's actually allowed me to release a little bit more the part of grief that writing and talking with the counselor and everything could not help. And so when I recovered from all the trauma that I have, not only I realized I learned the skill of and tools of transforming the tragedy, but also I noticed how much it helps. And so that's why when I decided to extend my help beyond the wall of my hospitals and become a grief coach and a life transformation coach, and also create and founded Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief, to be able to help people, to help all of us touch and release the part of grief that words cannot touch. And then fast forward to last year, to 2019, life was beautiful because I recovered. And then out of the blue, in a matter of 2 weeks, my right hand, my dominant hand, became paralyzed. And so, and I live in Los Angeles. I have plenty of specialists in here, and nobody could figure out why. And so, in a matter of 2 weeks, I looked at becoming a complete handicap, losing my career that I built over 25 years, losing my ability to take care of my parents as the only child if I lost my career and my income. And then, and on top of that, my mom also got suddenly very ill and with nobody knowing why. And we thought we are going to lose her. And my relationship with my long term, my 7 years companion, who had been my number one supporter through my journey, dissolved just like that. Everything happened in a matter of just weeks. And so the interesting part was I realized after just a short time, I did not go through any of the anguish, despair, anxiety, and trauma that I did back in 2011, 2012. And that's when I realized that not only I have learned the tools and skills of transforming our tragedies, but I also have learned along the way somehow the myriads of tools and skills on being able to continue to have peace of mind and thrive even as we are facing adversities. And that's actually what brought me to today, where a lot of my work, like you mentioned just now, is to help people to thrive through adversities. That's what brought me to write my book, Seeking Peace, because at the end of the day, life is life. We never know. Things happen in life unexpectedly. Who expected COVID to happen in anybody's life, right? And there it is. So that's what brought me to from veterinary to being a grief transformation speaker, author, and coach.
Yeah, wow, that's that's an amazing journey. So I mean, I think that it takes tremendous strength that you had these horrible downturn, like everything's good, and then this horrible downturn, but to come out of that and so much stronger, like you said, like so the last time you went through it, it's with as you said, with a whole new set of tools and with an inner strength. I think that's fantastic. So both books, just to say, so it's Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief. That's one book, and Seeking Peace.
The Dance Away Sadness actually is not a book. It is an actual dance program.
Oh, that's the program. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That's sorry. That's not. So Seeking Peace is the book.
Yeah.
Okay. So Seeking Peace, and Seeking Peace you can buy off of your website or off Amazon. Where can people purchase that book?
Both. You can get it from Amazon in any country that there is an Amazon, including in Canada and the US and anywhere. So Amazon.com, it's the full title is Seeking Peace, the proven 5 fingers method to thrive through change effortlessly. And then you can also get it from my website. Actually, it has its own website, seekingpeacebook.com. That's that. And if some people like an autographed copy, and that if you do that, then you directly connect with me, but support at birgittetan.com, and then you just write down, you want autographed copy, and it's still complimentary shipping for you.
Okay, wow, that's super nice. Wow, very cool. So then explain Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief. So that's like a program, that's a process, right? Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
you can explain that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to. So yeah, Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief. It is it's a dance program. It's freestyle dancing. It's basically a combination of freestyle dancing and coaching, gentle coaching through the time, and of course with music, the freestyle dancing with music. And so it's range in what you need and the space and so on and so forth. It range anywhere from typically half an hour to an hour. Different kind of music. It's basically, it started with quiet, and then the music goes up and down and up and down. And yeah, I do it one on one nowadays online, and as well as in person for previous before COVID. So and then also I do it in group. Done it a lot. Actually in cancer centers, it seems to help very much. And you do not have to be a dancer to be able to benefit from that at all. I was a stiff, clumsy, ugly duckling, and so I can benefit from that. And I still cannot follow dance step even now. If you ask me to do, I don't know, waltz or something, even salsa, I'm like completely discombobulated. I'm down, and so but dance away sadness. It's freestyle dancing, and so for some people it's a matter, some people really dance and jump all over the room, and which is wonderful. And some people, a lot of people at cancer center, if you can imagine, there are a lot of them are very tired, and they do is they just sit on the side and tap their feet and tap their hand or not their head or something. I even have people that just lie down through the whole thing and just kind of like tap their feet and hand, and it's still very helpful actually. So it, regardless of your physical state, it can help us. And I think it's because you're very knowledgeable, Andrew. So you might have heard about this before from Dr. Joe Dispenza. On his TED Talk, he shares that when we hear something, well, or when we read something, it gets into our mind. But when we have an experience, particularly an impactful experience, it got into our cellular level. And so grief, anything that causes grief, that causes trauma, is an impactful experience, and it got to us to our cellular level. And we know nowadays that music as well as movement actually vibrates at different vibrations than words, right? And so I think that's why dancing dance away sadness works so well with grief, is because the vibration of music and the movement, even if it's just a little bit, and then the coaching, it's kind of allow your cells to vibrate at the different normal vibrations, and then it's allowed the cells to kind of release whatever stuck in the cells. It's actually very helpful for current grief, but to my surprise, it's also helped with grief that's been like for sitting in somebody for like 30-40 years, something that traumatized you when you were a kid and things like that. So that's dance away sadness.
Yeah, well, this is amazing. Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I could see that. So I spent many years as a music producer, right? Big part of my life, but it was also a big part of my spiritual journey to understand vibration, because everything is vibration and everything's a vibrational match. And I think that I know there's Stephen Kotler. Are you familiar with his work? He wrote The Rise of Superman and another book. It'll come to me in a second. He's fantastic. He writes about flow state, right? Being in flow state. And he says, like, so people, that's why people go to like Burning Man or to raves, is because when you're all together and you're dancing, and you don't need, I know there's a lot of like ecstasy and drugs. You don't need those. Your body produces, your brain will produce those drugs by itself, right?
Yeah.
So, and then being together, dancing together, listening to the music together, it releases all that stuff, and that's what makes it so positively addictive. Without the drugs, don't do the drugs.
It's like,
and I think that it's brilliant what you're saying. I completely understand it. It's also the other thing that makes me think of is that a lot of ideas, I go running a lot, and a lot of ideas come to me when I'm physically active. So I'm running, and I'm kind of, I want to say meditating, but putting myself in that kind of listening mode instead of a thinking mode. It's kind of listening mode, and then the ideas will come to me while I'm physically active. And I know that's very, very good for you as well. So kind of you put those together, that music, and then there's also the thing of remembering, right? So if a trick to remember something is to put it to music. So if you put something, a list of items to your favorite jingle or song, it's easier to remember, right?
Mhm.
And why is that relevant? Just because what you said with Dr. Joe Dispenza is deeper grooves. So it's changing the
Mhm.
physiology, and because of neuroplasticity, it's actually changing your brain,
Mhm.
right? So I think it's brilliant what you've done. It sounds um nice and kind of, a nice fun approach to things, but I think it's a lot more than that,
Well, it's I think it's it goes along with me being wanting to thrive back then for myself, and then even for now for to help people thrive, but doing it easily and with fun. so
Mhm.
but yeah, it is something that's very helpful in that way. So
Yeah, well, I know that we're recording this, it is a video, but it's meant to be a podcast, so if it was just a video, I would ask you to put some music and dance for all of us so we can see it, but I won't put you on the spot right now, Dr. Burgin. We'll maybe next time you can show, or you can
right.
upload to YouTube. So let's talk about maybe, like life success coach. I guess we also have in common that we both enjoy Mary Morrissey, right, and her teachings.
Right, yes.
Yeah. So do you want to maybe talk a little bit about that, about being a life success coach? It's such a broad
Yeah, yeah,
definition,
exactly.
right? So
Mhm.
a lot of people, can say, "Oh, I'm a life success coach," but I think, I would love to hear how you define it and how you do it.
Absolutely. So for me, my life success coach is a couplefold, and it's all ties with the grief transformations. I find you can be very successful, but if you do not have peace of mind, then you're not going to truly be thriving. So there's like you said, there's a lot of life coach and life success coach in multiple different way. And to me, it's all the multiple different quadrant in your life, but even more importantly, the whole thing that ties them together. The first thing is to be able to have peace of mind. Now we have peace of mind is kind of like one of those twofold things. You want to be able to have an internal peace, like regardless of something going on outside, and so you learn the skill for that, and remembering that life can be like the tornado. You can have things going on spinning outside, but there is the eye of a tornado, which is in all of us, and things can be happening, so we can do that. Now at the same time, if you constantly have to be worrying about if you're going to be able to pay rent this month, or if you are in a relationship where you're longing a closeness or a companion or something, and you're not able, you're not having that in your life, it's after a while, regardless of who you are, it will wears you out. And so that's why for me it's like when I do life coaching and life success coaching, it's multiple things that we start understanding that it is starting from all of us. And actually one thing that I do a lot of time is having that core understanding and kind of like the basic skill on being able to navigate anything that's going on. And then the next is how do you what is it that you would really really love to bring in your life, like you say, it's if you truly believe in what it is, then it is possible. I love the I was sharing on my Facebook live the other day. Actually, I said, there is a lot of time we see online the questions, if you knew that you cannot fail, that you could not fail, what would you do? We know that we can know that, but if we don't believe that we will succeed, then it can be challenging. Because if you believe otherwise, let's say but you still don't believe it. Let's say you would love something I did myself. You would love to be able to cut your work hours by 40% and triple or double your income. That's something absolutely possible. Actually, a lot of people don't think it is, but it is possible. Many people done that, and that might be what you love with your life success coach. I do a lot of 6 months to actually a year coaching instead of some people do very short coaching, and it depends on where it is. For me, in terms of coaching, a lot of people come to me actually with the grief part, and so I help people navigate and move through and beyond and recover from the grief, and depend on what's going on in our life. Sometimes we recover from our grief and we love to go back to the life that we have, and that is perfectly wonderful. And if you are like me, you're like, okay, I'm done with that, let me move on. And that's when I will help with the life success coaching. What is it that you would really really love? Is it bringing in a new love, bringing in a new career? Back then with me it was every single aspect of my life. And so even if you said, well, I want to change my health, I want to change my love relationship, I want to make more money and work less, and I want to be able to have fun, and that's absolutely possible. We work together for a year at a time.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. A few points on that is one is I read this a lot is that happiness is a choice, and sometimes it's a very difficult choice, very because the circumstances around you make it very hard. But I think that it's a choice. You could choose to see the good or the bad in everything, and you can choose happiness. And sometimes it's very 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 challenging, but you can. It comes from internally, and I think that what you said too is that all these other things. So you could think that I want more money and I want more time and I want the love of my life, but there's this, you said very well, there's this like inner peace and this inner happiness that needs to be stable, right? And having that stability and having that inner peace, then everything else you can build. But if you're looking for out there to bring you happiness, you'll never find
Yeah,
it, right? It's not there.
exactly.
It's not a new car. It's not
Hmm.
even the love of your life. It's not that. Not even that. No,
Yeah.
it's from here. And I think that when you're balanced here, and then you can find the love of your life,
Hmm.
then you have potential to really have a long or
Yeah.
forever
Yeah.
relationship. And then you
Yeah.
talk too about believing in yourself and what you can do. And I am a firm believer in that when they say like a faith of a mustard seed or something like that, it really is. People are so much stronger and could do so much more than they believe they can. And I think that coaching is um, essential to everyone. I remember seeing. So there's a guy that taught me this, and he said he had an Olympic athlete come to him,
Mm.
and this guy was it was what's his name? It'll come to me in a second. Anyways, he was a medal Olympian runner, and he came to this guy and he said, "Oh, I have trouble. I can't this. I can't my business, my thing, and it's all over the place. Can you help me?" And so the guy said, "Yeah, okay, sure." He goes, "How many coaches do you have right now?" And the guy said, "Well, none, zero, zero." And this guy I'm talking about, it's actually JT Fox, and JT
Mm.
Fox say, I don't know if some people hate him, so I don't like always bring up his name, but I like him. Okay, I think he's a good guy, but whatever. So JT Fox himself, who is arguably one of the top wealth coach in the world, and he says he has something like 7 or 8 coaches. Okay, himself.
Yeah.
And when he talked to this guy about this Olympic medalist, and he said, "When you were training for the Olympics, how many coaches did you have?" And he said, "About 8, 9." He had an endurance coach. He had another coach for diet. He had another coach for strength. He had another coach for all these different things.
Hmm.
And then he just brought him around. Well, well, obviously you're struggling with your business. You're struggling with your marketing. You're struggling with this. You have no coaches. You went from being like this mentality and a real winner,
Hmm. Hmm.
as an athlete, and then you tried to with all these coaches, and then you tried to do everything that's something you didn't really know about by yourself. So I think that coaching is essential for so many people, and I think that the listener, you should look into definitely having some coaching sessions with you, because it is, and it pays off so like so big. I've heard so many stories. I have a very close friend of mine, very very intelligent
Mhm.
guy, and he does supplements like what is it called? For your mind, neurotropics and stuff
Mm,
like that. Very,
yeah.
he's a very smart guy. But once he got a coach, that was it. He went from smart guy making good money. He was always successful person, but suddenly with the coach, boom, like ridiculously successful. Whatever
Wow.
he paid his coach, he made back tenfold, right? So I think that that's the other thing where people limit themselves to say, oh, do I have the budget? And it's one of those things like if you don't have the budget, then you can't afford not to have a coach. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's funny that you say that. Well, two things I'm going to say for that. Thank you for saying that. And yes, I didn't mention. I actually provide complimentary laser coaching, 30 minutes laser coaching for anybody who want to reach out to me. Whether it's something that's weighing your heart, so it's grief or something, or it is for life success. I provide 45 minutes laser coaching. So feel free to reach out to me, and you just schedule yourself on my calendar, on my website, From Grieving to Joyful Living. But that's very true that you say that. You mentioned the name of Mary Morrissey. She was my first, and still talking about me having many coaches. I don't know how many you have, Andrew, but I have a row of them. And so